Apple has a history of not being the first, but being the best. Their biggest launch in years was supposed to follow this pattern. Instead, Apple Intelligence might become one of their most costly mistakes ever. After being one of the last major tech companies to enter the artificial intelligence race, there was a lot of excitement leading up to their AI announcements, and at first, it looked like they nailed it. Their unique control over both the hardware and software in their products allowed them to introduce a completely new approach to AI. One that prioritized security and privacy by running the majority of requests locally on your device. And for the times where Apple Intelligence did need to access more powerful AI models, Apple built their own custom servers to handle those requests without collecting or storing any of your data. Beyond this, Apple laid out a vision for an AI that has a deep understanding of everything on your device and on your screen, allowing for AI experiences only they could provide. Unfortunately, despite all the initial excitement, there were some issues right from the beginning. Since Apple was prioritizing on-device AI, you needed a product with Apple's latest and greatest hardware, which meant it would only work on the iPhone 15 Pro models at first. Later, when they introduced their new iPhone 16 lineup, they marketed them heavily as built for Apple Intelligence. Tim Cook even attended the launch day event at the Fifth Avenue New York store, which was all lit up with the new Apple Intelligence glow. The only problem was, there was no Apple Intelligence yet. This caused a lot of confusion, with many customers trying to figure out why their brand new iPhone was missing Apple Intelligence. Even inside the retail stores, the phones would play a demo video with the new Siri animation, but if you tried to use Siri, you would get the old experience. Apple had previously announced Apple Intelligence would be arriving a month later via a software update, but it was limited to just a few features like the writing tools, notification summaries, and Siri's new design. It was the same old Siri, just with the new colorful glowing edges. Hey Siri, who's the sponsor of this video?
This video is sponsored by MagBak.
MagBak has been my go-to daily phone case ever since I first tried them. All their cases are MagSafe compatible, but they also have 4 extra strong magnets, so you can mount your phone to any metal surface. And for everything else, they include a Mag Stick, letting you transform any surface into a phone mount. They also make a wallet that snaps on way more securely than other MagSafe wallets, with room for up to 9 cards, a separate compartment just for cash, a built-in finger loop, and it even doubles as a kickstand. Or if you have their newest Elite case, the finger loop and kickstand are built right in. They offer great protection, are super customizable, and are way more functional than your average phone case. Use code NICKB15 for 15% off at checkout, link down below. So while not having their AI ready in time for the launch of the iPhone 16 was certainly a stumble, when it finally did arrive, the notification summary feature was a full-on faceplant. The purpose of this feature was meant to condense multiple notifications into a neat little summary that shows just the key details to help cut down on notification clutter. Unfortunately, the results were frequently a mess. Apple's algorithms struggled with basic logic, sarcasm, and context. It would combine unrelated notifications into one notification, and the results would range from funny to downright terrifying. There's an entire subreddit called Apple Intelligence Fail, which is filled with examples of these notification summaries gone wrong. News notifications were even worse, with multiple news organizations calling for Apple to remove this feature after it spread false details about several real-world events. The backlash got so loud that Apple was forced to make some changes, including temporarily disabling the feature for all news and entertainment notifications, along with using italicized text to help distinguish them from normal notifications. They even added a warning that this is a beta feature and may contain errors. While Apple was busy fixing their notification disaster, they pressed on with rolling out other AI features with mixed results. The next phase of the rollout brought image generation capabilities like Image Playground and Genmoji. These features weren't a total disaster like notification summaries, but they also weren't anything noteworthy. If you're like me, you'll use these features from time to time for jokey purposes, and if you're like most people, you'll forget these features even exist. On the other hand, one of the more notable new Apple Intelligence features is the cleanup tool in Photos. This lets you erase any unwanted parts of your photo with just a tap or by circling it. This feature works pretty well, but it already pales in comparison to the AI cleanup tools on other Android devices. So they already have a lot of catching up to do, even with one of their good features. I'll also add in real quick, I love the Memory Movie Maker in Photos. This lets you describe a type of story or event you want to see, and then Apple Intelligence will pick out relevant photos and videos, order them in a way that makes sense, and add in some music. I've found this to actually do a pretty good job, especially with how quickly it can put everything together. So while all this hasn't been an ideal rollout for Apple, all was to be forgiven when Apple finally released the crown jewel of Apple Intelligence, a smarter Siri. Apple showed off a Siri that would be able to reference all the personal information stored on your device, be aware of what's currently on your screen, and seamlessly take action across all your apps on your behalf. After years of being considered one of the worst voice assistants, Siri was set to become the most capable personal assistant ever on any device. This alone made people think, Apple may be late to artificial intelligence, but they're about to change the game. But the smarter Siri isn't here, and it won't be for a while. Originally slated to be part of the iOS 18.4 update in March 2025, reports now indicate it's being pushed back to iOS 19, with many suggesting it won't be ready until 2026. That's potentially well over a year after millions of customers upgraded their phones for a model specifically marketed as built for Apple Intelligence, a promise that now feels like a bait and switch. So much so that Apple has even begun quietly making changes to their marketing materials to avoid misleading more customers. They also took down one of their iPhone 16 ads showing off the more personal Siri. Heck, even the Apple Intelligence website no longer has the words "available now." All of this overpromising may end up becoming a very costly mistake, as class action lawsuits are now popping up throughout the United States and Canada. They accuse Apple of false advertising and misleading customers by hyping up Apple Intelligence as a main feature of their new iPhones, but none of the functionality was available at the time of launch, and the most exciting feature of all isn't going to be available at any time in the near future. Apple has a history of settling class action lawsuits to avoid prolonged litigation and negative publicity, which means there's a very good chance this AI rollout could end up costing Apple hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's not counting the billions of dollars Apple has already invested into research and development for Apple Intelligence, a free service that was meant to boost iPhone sales, but has actually coincided with a year-over-year drop in sales. Beyond that, Apple's reputation has been tarnished a bit. For a company that relies so heavily on customer loyalty and ecosystem lock-in, they risk losing customers, which could hurt the company for years to come. So, what can Apple do to fix this? This isn't the first time Apple has had a rebound after a major misstep. The launch of Apple Maps and AntennaGate are two very notable examples that have since become footnotes in the company's history. I think there's several things they could do to recover and rebuild confidence. Something that may not be popular, but I personally would like to see, is a return to live in-person keynotes. Pre-recorded events allow Apple to essentially pass off concept videos as if they were product demos. Whereas features like Face ID, for example, when it was being demoed live for the first time, this happened.
Now, unlocking it is as easy as looking at it and swiping up. And, let's try that again. Ho, ho, ho. Let's go to backup here and get right in.
Now, Apple claims this issue was caused by too many other people looking at the phone before Craig went to use it. But for me, it still added a level of authenticity to the feature. And I think moments like this, or at least the chance that something like this could even happen, would go a long way in making sure Apple is confident in their ability to deliver on the features they showcase. One other thing Apple may want to consider is moving away from their on-device AI approach. While this is the right move for creating deeply integrated experiences like the smarter Siri, for most other AI features, they would probably be better off relying on server-based models like the rest of the industry. They will still have a competitive advantage with their private cloud compute approach, but a shift like this would allow them to adapt more quickly, and it could even make some Apple Intelligence features available on older, less powerful iPhones, like the iPhone 15. Perhaps slap a plus on the end of it and charge a subscription fee if you have to. What do you think? Is this just a rocky start for Apple Intelligence, or is Apple too far behind in the AI race to ever catch up? Leave your prediction in the comments, and if you want to learn more about why Elon Musk's initial reaction to Apple Intelligence was completely wrong, check out this video next. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for even more videos like this. I'm Nick Bradley. Thank you so much for watching.